Bam. Hey, everybody. Welcome live. Advocates for Justice, Paralegal Service. We have the tools and you do the work. Welcome, everybody. We got a fun night in store tonight. A lot of stuff to talk about. So let's get started. We're early and we're late. We're late and we're early. But I think you'll find the value that you need to not have a problem with me being late. So let me give myself a thumbs up, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to like what we're talking about tonight. And let's get started. So welcome to Advocates for Justice Paralegal Service. I'm Coach Neighbors, and I'm the one to get to do most of the talking up in here. Tonight, we're going to discuss one of the most popular subject on my website and my videos, my YouTube videos. I have a playlist on YouTube for eliminate property tax lawsuit package videos, and I think I had 27, 28 videos in that playlist. Yep, that's what we're talking about tonight, in case you haven't seen the little title that I just put up a few minutes before the stream started. We're going to talk about the eliminated property tax lawsuit package. But before we get started with that, I want to give a shout out to Jackie Fig over at a website called David and Goliath. So these guys are advocates helping folks just like I do. Well, they kind of help folks in a conventional sense and not the non-conventional. So, they're learning some of the things that we have been lucky enough to figure out. But nonetheless, they're helping people like I do, because I help people, they help people too. And they invited me to speak on one of their Zoom meetings week before last. And I got to talk to, 30 or 40 members of their team that are fighters from California, mostly from California. I think there was people from other places, but most of them was from California. And man, California is getting hit hard with this foreclosure property tax scheme crap the attorneys are pulling on people. So I'm hoping to go on the show again this coming Tuesday and talk about this same subject, the property tax, and see if I can offer some people a deal. Speaking of the deal, we got the deal going on right now. The property tax lawsuit package has been reduced, and I'm going to leave it at the reduced price for the rest of the weekend. You guys can go to the new website and check out the new website. It's up and running. I still have some things to do on putting in the description and some of the packages. Like I have a package. It's titled. It's about getting your divorce. So it's a delusion of marriage package is what it is. So you can get a divorce without having to go through all of that process they put you through. And basically, when you undo the marriage, you're going to undo it using the same process they used to do the marriage. Basically, post the stuff on the public record. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. They want you to pay attorneys and pay the court and all these fees to do all this stuff, and you don't need to. You can do the same thing they're doing yourself. So that package on my website is not. I don't have the description put in there yet. I'm still working on a few of them. Free Church Press, howdy, welcome. Tonight we're throwing down. So I wanted to thank Jackie and all the folks over at David and Goliath for inviting me to speak to their members. And I want to thank all of the members that responded to the meeting, whether they invested in the package or just called me about other things that they were doing or emailed me about other things they were doing. I want to say thanks. That's really cool to spend that little bit of time talking with you guys. So Jackie and the team, I want to thank you guys for allowing me the privilege of sharing the time of with your members, and I hope that you guys will have me back again this coming Tuesday so we can talk about this very same thing. Hey, James Galley, he says he's here. Learning and doing, free press search. Yep. Learning and doing. James Galley. Okay, you've been accounted for. So let's get back to it. Also, I want to remind you guys to please click on those ads so YouTube can pay me. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Click on the bell to get notified when it's time to rock and roll. And I had a few people ask me, how do you get notified when it's time to do stuff? Well, you got to click on that bell. Well, first off, you got to subscribe. And then you got to click on the bell. And when you click on the bell, you get notifications when it's time, when we post the video or when we start a stream. And finally, hit that like button. That lets YouTube know I'm bringing value to the table, so they will show my stuff to more people. Hey, SkyBiz. Should we do a deed acceptance? I don't know about that, SkyBiz. I don't do a deed acceptance. I just sue them for the property tax. I sue them to help you I teach you how to sue them to get your deed back. I don't do all of those things that they say. You know, I had a lady tell me earlier, well, she did a secured party creditor and she accepted as a, yeah, I don't do any of that stuff. So I don't have time. What I'm doing is you're suing them right to the point. In my opinion, a lot of that stuff that you're doing, they're not going to recognize it. So, and I think you see what I'm talking about. So I don't really do the deed acceptance. They're not going to recognize it. The only thing they're going to recognize is getting their butt sued. That's it. That's it. And that's what we learn how to do. We learn how to cut to the chase. Cut to the chase. That's what we're learning how to do. And here's the thing. I figured out a way to sue the judge at the gate for unrelated stuff, for not being legal, basically. Yeah. So now if the judge is getting sued for not being legal, that's going to be a problem, because now all of the judges' past stuff is going to get called on the table. Right. And they ain't trying to have to do that. So what you're learning in my program, you're going to learn how to stop being the damn defendant. Okay. I don't care if they have you listed as a defendant. You don't have to be the defendant taking the punches in the face, because that's not what we do around here. If you do that around here on my team, I'm going to send you to the bench. And I don't have a bench. Okay, sorry. I got carried away. So we just cut to the chase. We ain't trying to play around. We're just going to cut to the chase. We already done with the playing around. The playing around don't get you nowhere. So let's just get started. Eliminate property tax lawsuit package. The most asked question that I get that people want to know is, how many wins does the package have? And my response to that is, well, a couple of responses. Number one, it's not a win for me. I'm not the one doing it. I just sell the education to people and let them go do their thing. And I don't beg people to, sometimes I beg people to leave a Google review. I should have said that, right? Okay, sometimes I beg people to leave a Google review, but if people don't feel comfortable exposing themselves, I don't have a problem with that. Because at the end of the day, if the problem is someone doesn't know how many wins and they're not interested in investing, that's fine with me. My program is not for everybody. And it doesn't work for people who don't do their homework. So those people haven't done their homework. The number one question I'd be asking is, does it make sense, for starters? So the conventional strategy and the non-conventional strategy are very different and require different questions to determine the value. In most cases, the homeowner is forced to sign when you use the non-conventional program that I put together. In most cases, the homeowner is forced to sign a non-disclosure statement, not discussing whatever it was they settled or whatever it was they agreed to, because at the end of the day, there's no law that forces you to put your deed in their office. So they have no legal grounds not to give you back your deed when you ask for it. And I have great reviews on well, actually I have great reviews on all of my stuff. I ain't kidding. Go check. You can get to my Google reviews right off the front page of the website. I'm pretty sure you can. And I have great Google reviews. I have the best Google reviews of any legal business that I have seen. So there. And if there's any legal business that has a better reviews than mine, speak up, because you can come be on the show. We can have a review show off. Okay, never mind. Okay. Anyway, I think my point is clear. When you go to my reviews, you'll see they're stinking pretty badass. So our eliminate property tax package, our eliminate property tax strategy is unconventional. Now, the question that I would ask in an unconventional strategy is, what facts are we going to rely on to make this work? Okay, that's what you need to be asking, not how many wins. What facts? The most important question you must answer for yourself is, does the strategy make sense? You know, I had a guy telling me, his attorney told him they're going to file an antitrust lawsuit after they got done with the foreclosure, but they couldn't do it yet. They had to wait till the foreclosure was done, and then they'll file an antitrust lawsuit. I'm like, an antitrust lawsuit? What the hell? What the hell is that? Yeah, it didn't make no sense. If it don't make sense to you, what the hell? Are you kidding me right now? Oh, wait, you're not an attorney. Well, attorneys don't have no damn license, okay? And on the Swear versus the Board of Examiners, the Supreme Court rules that no state can license the practice of law. So them fools don't have no license, and all that stuff they do to make you jump through the hoops and all that stuff like a licensed attorney is all BS. Yep, all BS. Yeah, I'm saying that right. Usury wizard. Yeah. Yeah, and they did that without a baton. That's funny. So the question that you got to ask yourself is, does it make sense? Now, I would also ask if the lawsuit package had a document to sue the judge for helping their attorneys. Because remember I said in the beginning, we learn how to cut to the chase. Your strategy for whatever you're doing in court needs to have a provision to sue the judge with when the judge starts helping them. Because that's what's going to happen. I mean, I've been doing this for a minute, and it took me a while to get this set up and understand their structure of their program. Yeah. But so their program is structured to start the arguing. And that's why we don't use none of that stuff that everybody wants to talk about in my documents. Because when you use that crap, it allows them to argue. And then when the arguing's done, the judge gets to help them. That's the way their program is set up. Yes. And this is the thing, Free Church Press. If you understand what we're doing, you can apply it all over the place. Like, for instance, the lawsuit package that I put together against the judge, that package can be used as a motion to dismiss, motion for summary judgment. People get so wrapped up into walking with these blinders on, following the restrictions that these attorneys put on everybody. Shoot, throw that shit out the window. Shit, go for it. Y'all got nothing to lose. You're already about to lose. I had one lady tell me, well, she was really concerned. She needs to make sure she understood everything because she didn't want them laughing at her. I'm like, dude, hello? They're already laughing at your ass, okay? I'm sorry. They're already laughing at you because you're so worried about making everything perfect that you haven't done anything. It's not about perfection. It's about the process. Jam it up the process. Your papers don't have to be perfect. You just have to get them in their face. And then you change some stuff. At the end of the day, they're not going to want to argue the stuff that you bring to the table using my stuff. I can tell you that right now. Hey, Nevla, welcome tonight. So one of the main things, you need to make sure that whatever package you invest in has some documents in it that you can use to jump up in the judge's face as soon as the judge helps the attorney, because that's the way it's going to go. So somebody tell me that that's not the way it's going to go. The judge is going to help them. That's the way they have it set up. And we allow that with our arguing. Well, not in my program, because we address the stuff they don't want to argue about. Okay, so let's move on. So the basis for the eliminate property tax lawsuit package, the strategy is to use the notice of claim to give them opportunity to comply without filing the lawsuit. Now, you stop and think about it. There's no law that mandates that you have to register your deed in their office. So they have no legal recourse not to give you back your deed. Now, sometimes you need to give them more time than most people allow them, because they're not used to having their butt handed to them on a paper plate. That's it. So you're going to use the notice of claim, which is actually the lawsuit. I don't even play around. All of that, save everything for later and bring it out in trial. The hell with that. We ain't trying to go to no trial. We ain't even trying to have to go to court. And that's why I bring the fire that I bring to the packages that I put together. And when you change them and I put a whole bunch of extra crap in it, it's water on the fire. And now they can argue and your ass is in trouble. That's what happens. So the strategy is to allow them opportunity to figure out what they need to do to give you back your stuff. And if they don't, then in the unconventional eliminated property tax lawsuit packages, strategies are based on the fact that there is no law that mandates homeowners must file their deed in the county recorder's office. There's no law. There's no law that forces you to file your deed in their office. Now, placing your deed in their office is what is used to initiate the property tax collection, zone and code enforcement, all of that, and the mortgage. And we'll get to that in a minute. So since there is no law making property owners register their deed in a county recorder's office, property owners will formally request to have their deed returned to them. If there's no law that says you have to put it in there, they should be able to just give you back your property deed, right? My question would be, if I was going to ask questions, my question would be not how many wins, but how are they trying to get out of returning the property deed? Because, at the end of the day, my stuff should win hands down. I'm not lying. My stuff should win hands down if it wasn't for the fraud. That's what you guys are talking about here. Yeah, the fraud. If it wasn't for the fraud, my stuff would be winning hands down. And that's why I don't really like to do how many wins out, because you can have fire, and if you're too scared to light the match at the end of that and burn some people's butts, okay, getting carried away. If you have fear and you can't follow through and smash some people in the face, then my program shouldn't take a hit for that. That's why I don't go there. So when people ask me that, how many wins, the first thing I think about asking them is, well, you must have a better program. What's working for you? what you're doing now must not be working for you, or you wouldn't be asking me these silly questions instead of figuring out if what I'm doing, what I'm asking you to do or showing, if it makes sense. Doesn't make sense. If it makes sense, then I'm thinking, unless you got some other choice, or you got like the free church press, unless you got the wizard stick, unless you got the wizard stick, then you need to be making a decision. Okay, I need to leave the wizard stick alone and move forward. So there's no legal defense to refuse returning the deed to your property. The fact of the matter is, my documents, like I said, should win every time. The problem is the corruption and intimidation. People pack up their tent when the judge yells at them. I had one guy in the group that got freaked out because the federal judge said he was going to sanction him because he filed my paperwork, and none of the judges wanted to see it. And of course, I asked him if he was ready to give up and go sit on the bench, and he thought I was sending him to the bench, and he got mad, and yeah, so and he's not here anymore. So apparently he never been on a team before. Okay, are you kidding me right now? Yeah. So he got scared because the judge yelled at him. So I don't get it. Okay, here's the thing. If the judge ain't yelling at your ass, you're not doing anything. Okay? Because if the judge is not yelling at you, the attorneys don't need the judge to help them. So that means the attorneys are kicking your ass and you're not doing anything. Probably worrying about everything being perfect. So it's not fair to my program to take a hit because someone got scared and went and sat down in a corner. Actually, I'm learning how to weed those people out. So I don't have anybody that is sitting in the corner right now. And if there was somebody sitting in the corner, they would be mad at me because I'm a coach and you're in my program for me to coach you. And I have no problem saying what needs to be said. If I screw up, I have no problem apologizing. I don't think I'm disrespectful with people, but some people might think I'm disrespectful if they expect to get their hand held, because I don't do that. So if you want to get your hand held, this is not the program for you. So if you want to mess with them before you attack them and get up in their face, okay? And I had a guy do this, and he had a lot of fun. Contact your tax assessor and ask for a written explanation of the numbered codes appearing on your property tax statement. So once you have deciphered the statement, you would find that your property classification has been changed to one of the 3 commercial designations: residential, commercial, or agricultural. And residential actually means it's a property that a government official lives in, but not very many people know that. So you write a letter to your tax assessors explaining that you've discovered an error in the tax statement. And I would put a copy of the tax statement with the red circle or something around the issues. But do not mention the tax itself, as the error in question only relates to the classification, not the tax. So you want to not get the whole thing twisted if you're not ready to talk about the tax. All you're talking about now is the illegal classification, the classification. Yeah. So explain that your property has mistakenly been reclassified, or I would say reclassified. No, actually classified as commercial. And please correct the classification to read private, because private property is not supposed to be taxed in the Constitution. It is illegal to tax private property, not once, but in 2 different places. So ask the assessor via UPS certified mail to notify you once the matter has been handled. And be polite. Because if you invest in my program, you're going to have to fire anyway, and you're going to have them jumping through some hoops. But this would be a good way to let them know that you're serious about it when it's time for them to jump through the hoops and when you serve them their butt on a paper plate. So be polite. What they're going to tell you, they're either going to explain to you that they cannot tax property unless it's classified pursuant to their constitutional limits, i.e. residential, industrial, agricultural. But the word here is classified. They're going to tell you they cannot tax private property unless it's classified pursuant to their constitution. No, that's not a classification. Okay, they can't tax property because it's illegal in the Constitution, but they just play on these words because most people don't catch this stuff. Constitutional limitations. You're right. So they're admitting right there that they're screwing up because there's a constitutional limitation and not supposed to tax it. Oh, wait, they're private property. So they take your property and they reclassify it for the sole purpose of taxation. Huh. Could that be what's going on? Now, they're saying that they do it according to the Constitution. We already know that's not true because we already know what the Constitution says. So they're full of crap right there. Most people do not know that there's a secret lien on all property bought with Federal Reserve notes. And if you buy property, you can buy property with gold or silver and get around all of this. But I'm going to show you how to get around this fake mortgage stuff in the first place anyway. So we're going to get we're going to get down to that here in a minute. So most people don't know that most people don't know property of all U.S. persons is used in collateral, is used as collateral for the federal debt, the federal national debt. But the question is, what's a U.S. person? I'm not a U.S. person. You're not a U.S. person. A lot of people have no idea what a U.S. person is or a U.S. citizen. I'm not a U.S. citizen. I'm a citizen of the Republic State of Arizona where I was born. Nobody can be a U.S. citizen because nobody can be born in a fictitious corporation. There, I said it. Nobody can be a U.S. citizen because the U.S. citizen or a U.S. person is someone that's born in the federal government. That makes you a federal, that's nobody. That whole thing is fake, and it's what they use to come after you. And that's why your name is in all capital letters on your driver's license and all kind of stuff. Yep, that's absolutely right, Neville. So if you understand that you're not a U.S. citizen and you reclaim your state citizenship, then you're no longer subject to the court's statutory jurisdiction without an injured party. And that's why I recommend everyone do the process with the passport to get your passport and to reclaim your state citizenship. Now, I have people telling me all the time, oh, well, I'm a secured party creditor and I'm a this and I'm a that. Well, no one's recognizing any of that. And anybody can comment on the thing if anybody's recognizing that. No one's recognizing that. But when you have that passport card showing that you're a citizen of the Republic State of where you were born, they have to recognize that. And, in the court, they're going to try not to. So what I did with my sister, we set ourselves up to sue them for it. And we filed a copy of her state citizenship, of her passport showing her state citizenship status as an exhibit, and they sealed it. We didn't figure that out till months later, but they actually sealed it, which was interesting, and let me know that it was fire and they didn't want to touch it, and they couldn't answer to it either. So Is there a classification as private, at least going to no, Skybiz. The conventional way is structured by the same attorneys that's stealing your stuff. Okay, so if there was and it wasn't helping them in court to take your stuff that day, the judge will tell you that it's not, and that's the way it goes. In eviction court, you can't argue possession. You can't argue a title dispute in eviction court. It's only immediate possession. So the other person shows up with their fake documents to show that they should possess it. And if you don't have a title dispute, you're in trouble. But hey, if you showed up with the same fake shit, they're going to tell you that you're arguing a title dispute and they don't want to hear it. So that's the way that goes. So there's nothing private on the statutory side. And we already talked. So the statutes do not have the necessary elements to be considered a valid law. We already talked about that. So you got to smash that easy. Yep, James Galley, you're absolutely right. Yep. You're absolutely right. Well, Fairlane says all our properties are already government obligated. Okay, Skybiz. So they don't follow any laws. So people telling me, oh, I have 12 days or I have 20 days or you don't have crap, okay? Because they're not following. They're not following. Those laws are not for them to follow. They're for your butt to follow. And your state constitution ranks higher, your debt real state constitution ranks higher than the feds. Well, that's going to depend on the situation, your dead grandpa, because federal court and federal ranks higher than state. So that just depends on what the situation is. I don't totally agree with that, and that's why, I mean, think about it. So the rules that we're supposed to be following in court are the federal rules of civil procedure. Those are the same rules supposed to be following in state court, the federal rules of civil procedure. So that's a wrap for me. Okay, now state court has the local rules and all this other shit. Well, I'm not obligated to follow all of those rules. I'm obligated to follow the same rules they're supposed to be following the federal rules of civil procedure. So looking at it from that perspective, I don't think that the state is going to, and maybe it depends on if you're in the state court, maybe you can try to get away with that, but in a federal court, you're not going to get away with that. So Men do knows. Do you have a package for anything after? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We have packages for anything after the foreclosure. And we have a new package. It's called the 1-2 punch. And it's on the website. And that is what I would, well, you have to take a look at the packages and see how you want to do it. Men do know. Men don't know. Men do knows. You got to take a look at the packages and see what they offer, because the 1-2 punch gets you back in the door and opens everything up and lets you go after the judge that granted them your property illegally. It doesn't really address the wrongful foreclosure, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who you sue. So if you did good on that, you can go back and sue them again. But when you're already been pushed over the cliff, you got to climb back up the cliff and come in that way. And that means that you got to go after the judge that pushed you over the cliff and get that shit open back up again and go after them that way. And that's how you got to start on that. And yeah, I do have packages on the website for that. And my website is running right there across the bottom, winningcourtnow.com. And there's my email address in case anybody has any questions. If you have questions, I'd rather you email me or hit me up on Facebook or something. I would rather you not call me if you haven't invested in the lawsuit package or in the online course. I don't really allow people to call me anyway, because I try to keep my phone open for the people calling in that haven't even got started yet, and the people that text me from sometimes people text me from the court, or call me outside because they are trying to give them a hard time about taking the document. And usually when that happens, I'm pretty aware that the people didn't watch the instructional video, because in the instruction video, we talk about what you need to do if they give you some crap when you get down there. But I can't help these people if I'm taking these phone calls for other stuff, like people wanting to call, do homestead. Well, I don't know anything about homestead. And I was texting someone about that. And then I got a call and I had this situation going down. So we're trying to get the situation. And then I wasn't texting the person back fast enough. So they started calling me and emailing me. I was like, okay, dude. So you guys need to remember that I'm not sitting. If I text you back, sometimes I get 10 or 15 calls a day. One day I had 31 calls. Most of the time it's not quite that many, but it's enough to where I may not be able to finish the conversation until I get back to it. So you guys need to keep that in mind. And I hate it when people call me and the first thing says, "Oh, I know, Coach, you don't want us calling you, but if you call and tell me that, I'm going to hang up on you. I'm just telling you, I'm going to hang up on you, because you already know that what you're calling and talk to me about is not something that I need to be talking about right now. And especially if we're already emailing each other back and forth about it or texting about it, then that's what we need to do, because it's not high enough on the priority list to take the phone call right now when I got people standing over here in the court trying to make sure that they don't get kicked out of their house. So that's the most important thing for me. People that are struggling, trying to stay in their house, I would rather spend my time talking with them than to spend my time talking with someone who hasn't invested in a document, just ask me general questions about stuff. And I've never seen anybody use the homestead. And I don't know a whole lot about homesteading, but from watching movies on the TV, homestead works when you go somewhere where there's nobody saying they own this land and try and, I don't know how they're going to try to get a homestead situation set up when they've already signed the paperwork and done all that stuff to say they're accepting an illegal loan. So thank you, Neville. So people should start out with the jurisdictional challenge with an update and the jurisdiction challenge video playlist, because everything that we're doing is based off of that. If you understand that, you'll have a better grasp of what documents you need to fill and what you need to. So can you charge them for fixing up the property? Oh. I don't know, Daniel. I never charged anybody for fixing up the property. I help people sue them for trying to take it. So that's what we do here. We ain't worried about charging them for fixing the property. We were about suing them for 5.5 million or 10 million or whatever. So True Blue said Louisiana homestead prevents seizures. Well, I don't know. I'm not from Louisiana, and I don't know about homesteads or how to do a homestead or if that prevents the seizures or not. So I'm not an expert on that. I'm an expert at getting to the point and suing them for trying to steal your property. Basically, what I'm teaching you how to do is get the deed to your property back. So the scheme of reclassifying your property is for the sole purpose of taxation, and it's unlawful, and is a solid, irrefutable basis for the lawsuit for lack of due process of law violation of your rights and for a lack of full disclosure by all parties concerned. They didn't tell you when they violated the state real estate deed laws by doing their constructive delivery and registering your deed in the office. They didn't tell you that registering that deed in the office was going to cause all kind of problems. And they didn't tell you that registering that deed in the office would allow them to file the first illegal lien against your property. Does anyone know what the first illegal lien was that was filed against your property? What was the name of the first illegal lien? You guys are asking me a bunch of other stuff, but we're past that. We're talking about the property tax. Does anybody know what the first illegal lien was? So the first illegal lien against your property was the mortgage lien. Why was that illegal? Right. It was right, James Galley. It's the mortgage lien. The mortgage lien was the first illegal lien they put against your property. And here's why. If there were several owners that own property, before they can accept the signature and take a lien against that property, all the owners would have to be present to sign, right? Yep. So the fact that the bank accepted your signature on the lien proved that you own the property free and clear. Bam. And that's it. The promissory note was turned into a security and processed through the Federal Reserve. And that's where the alleged loan came from. The electronic credits for the alleged loan came from them processing the promissory note. So that whole thing was created with your signature. And in Modern Money Mechanics, Modern Money Mechanics publication states that they were granted 9 times the amount that went into that demand deposit account. And then they wrote a check for the one time. And when I was fighting for my property a whole bunch of years back, I didn't have all this put together like I do now. But I did know that. And I was suing them. They wanted to know why I was suing for so much. And I told them because I want the other 9 times that was put in. Yeah, the judge got pissed. Yeah, but like I said, if the judge ain't mad, you ain't doing nothing, okay? Because they don't need your help. Skybiz said they turned Homestead into a joke. Well, Skybiz, for me, I don't trust nothing that they're doing. I don't trust none of their processes, and that's why I go with non-conventional. Non-conventional. So they didn't provide you full disclosure. And if you're facing a property tax lien foreclosure, just think how they're going to look when you're suing them for unlawful property tax collection. And here's something to think about. Back in the old days, things were simple. You had your property, you had your deed notarized, and you stored it in your Bible, in the family Bible. And nobody could access your property. No one could get on that or whatever unless they had a deed that was notarized prior to yours. And nowadays, the attorneys tell you to file your deed in their office so it can protect your property and make sure that nobody can get on your property and all of this. Well, people don't realize when they place the first lien against your property, most people have no idea that was a fraudulent lien and that was the mortgage lien. Most people have no idea that when your property was reclassified, they did that just for the sole purpose of taxation. The biggest problem is your deed is registered in their office The biggest problem with your deed being registered in their office is attorneys use their county recorder's office to access your property information. Yep. The attorneys used the information to make fake assignments, and they used those fake assignments to file unlawful foreclosures against people's property all day long. I have members in my private Facebook group who have proof that their property was paid off, all the lien release, everything, but now they're facing a foreclosure with a fake assignment. And attorneys get away with this crap because they know that nobody can, well, 95, probably 97% of us now can't afford attorneys. And they know that if you hire an attorney to help you with foreclosure, that attorney is going to automatically get a cut of what they steal from you, in addition to what you pay them for the fake help. So they know that they can do whatever they want to. They have a 95% chance that you're going to give up and go sit the hell down. So where do you think attorneys get the private property information they use on the fake assignments? From the county recorder's office all day long. So question of the day. When you get control of your original property lien, the original deed to your property, can you challenge your mortgage lien as unlawful? If your property lien is if your deed is not placed in their office, then the mortgage lien would be a problem. I'm still figuring out how that works, but just think about it. Think about it. If you got control of your property deed, you could ask the freaking mortgage company to prove that they made, why they have a lien. Because right there out of the gate, they violated the state real estate deed transfer laws by not giving you your deed after you signed. So they violated the law right at the gate. The attorneys cannot prove they have any consideration in the deal, or even that the lender had any consideration in the deal. What if there was a lawsuit package that could challenge your mortgage before you're in default? How much value do you think that would have? So, you need to get the lawsuit package True Blue to figure out how to move your deed from the county recorder's office. That's what we're talking about tonight. That lawsuit package that I put together, it shows you how to do that. So if we had something that we could use to challenge your mortgage before you are in default, how much value would that have? Big value, James said. So I'm doing the research on that, and I have some ideas. It's funny how it goes, because when I first started helping people and wanted to do this, everybody told me that I was crazy. Dude, I'm going to help people stop foreclosures. No, how are you going to do that? Yeah. Well, we're doing it. Yeah. We're doing it. I have some ideas, and we're about ready to figure something out on that. That would be really cool. Now, what they're doing with this property tax is a nice little RICO business, and they're getting away with it when we allow them to be in control of your property deed. Now, this lawsuit package is more than just regaining control of your property deed. It's more about making sure that you have control of the deed so they can't use your property for what they're using it for. And don't let them get it twisted, get the argument twisted, because what they're going to tell you is, oh, you have to pay property taxes. Well, no, you don't. And that's not what is the Constitution says. But that's not what you're going to argue. Okay. When they tell you that crap, What you need to tell them is, your argument is there's no law that forces you to file your deed in their office, so you want it back. The property tax issue is not your freaking problem. That's it. It's a wrap. You guys give me back my deed, or I'm going to see you in federal court, and the property tax issue is not your problem. This package is about getting control of the deed to your property, but I can't call it that, because if I did, people would tell me, oh, well, I have control of the deed to my property. It's in their office. That's what people tell me. Yo. No, not remove it. Okay, someone. No, not remove it from the county tax. Actually, I think it's scrolls, not rolls, but I don't know. Maybe it is rolls. I thought it was a scroll from the old days where you open it up and looked at it. But no, that's not what you're doing. You're removing your deed from their database. They can take it off of the scroll, but as long as they still control it, they'll put it back on the scroll in a year, next year, or maybe less than a year. So it's not the same thing. Removing it from the scroll is the way that generally you go about doing this. And there's another way to go about doing it that's long and drawn out, and then you got to sell your property to somebody else and then tell them not to register it. I don't have time for all of that. I just want to sue them, make them go sit the hell down and leave you alone. That's how I roll. So no, this is different. What I'm talking about is different than taking it off the scroll, off the rolls, but I think it's called scrolls, but I don't know. You're welcome, Indu Knows. Yeah, I think this mess all started in 1933 when they removed the statutes at large and went with revised codes and statutes. I think that's when a lot of this crap started that they're doing. People don't realize that when you're in court, you're not in a court that's connected to the Constitution. Okay, you're not in an Article 3 court. You're in an administrative court, and you have to figure out ways to hold them accountable in common law. And that's what we do. At the end of the day, C2 asks, great question. How do you get the package? Well, we can take care of that, because that sounds like a question I need to stop what I'm saying and answer. Somebody's asking the right question. Okay, here we go. You can go to my website and get it. All you do is you go to the website, go to the product page, and then you scroll down to the Eliminating Property Tax Lawsuit package. Or I'm going to post it in the group here so that you guys can maybe copy and paste it. And you can go right to the product page that way if you like. So it's marked down. And it's marked down as far as I could get it down. I couldn't get my partners to give me any more space on it, but I did get it down a little bit for the rest of this weekend. Now, next week, I don't know. They're gone on vacation. So I'm in charge right now. Yeah, okay. They're probably listening, watching this. So if my phone rings in a minute, I'm not going to answer it. So I got it marked down to what I can put it at right now. So you guys can go and check it out if you're interested in it. It's pretty valuable. I don't really, the people that are buying this package, I don't really hear a lot from them. Because they do not have a legal grounds to deny your request. And so at the end of the day, it's going to boil down to how much guts you have to hold their feet to the fire. So there is the link for that. So if you're ready to get control of a deed to your property, click on that link and let's get started. If you scroll down to the bottom of the product page, you will be able to see the instructional video. I included it in the product page at the bottom of the product page, so you can kind of get an idea of what it takes to get this done before you make your investment. Can do a stream for wrongful trustee. I don't know what that means, Neville. A wrongful trustee, or they're all wrong, and it's not the trustee. It's not the trustee. If you're talking about the foreclosure, it's not the trustee that's coming after you. It's the attorney acting as a third-party debt collector. And if you have any question about that, you need to go and look at the signature for on the document that they use to initiate the foreclosure against your property, and you'll see it's just the attorney. The lender hasn't signed any place. The trustee don't sign. It's the attorney acting as a third-party debt collector. Okay, Showtime, you got guts and just broke out the dang moment. I didn't know what that means. I know what the first part of it means. C2 Ash, you're welcome. So that's about all of the value that I have for you guys tonight. I appreciate you guys, the privilege of sharing your time. I hope that you learned something tonight. And if you're struggling with this issue of property tax, or you just want to stop paying, then tonight is the time you need to get the package you need. Now, you guys should also check out my online course. I put together an online course. It is the bomb. And this course is designed to help property investors who have rental properties that are facing foreclosures. It's also designed for entrepreneurs who want to do like what I'm doing, helping people. And that course has upgraded documents that are different than what people are using in the lawsuit packages. And I think I have like 62 people or something like that in the course, and I hardly hear anything out of anybody except Lori. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so things are going well for everybody if no one's calling me with emergencies. And Lori's is not emergency, so don't get so there you go. The online course, if you scroll down on our product page, the online course is at the bottom of the page. And when you click on it, the online course will take you over to teachable.com, where I actually have my online course hosted at. And then you can see the information about the course there and enroll in the course if it's something that you're interested in. Well, thank you, Showtime. And I have it pretty cheap. Mostly everything is pretty cheap. Now, I put together a brand new sanction motion. Actually, it's a lawsuit package, and that includes a sanction motion for $3.5 million against the prosecutor for for anything, traffic tickets, anything where you didn't hurt anybody. Anytime the prosecutor, the government is the plaintiff, you can use this package to get them out of your face, and it's undefeated. To show, I think week before last, the guy called in that I actually structured it for, and he was real impressed because they dismissed his stuff so fast. He was scared, then he was ready to rock and roll, then he understood what he had, and he was like, he can't wait for the hearing. I'm trying to tell him there ain't going to be no hearing, but he wasn't hearing it. And then they dismissed it before there was a hearing after arresting him and charging him with resisting arrest without violence. Yeah, bullshit charge. Yep. So they dismissed it. So now he's in the driver's seat and he's harassing the prosecutor for the $3.5 million and the judge for $3.5 million in sanctions against the prosecutor just because we can. And he's getting ready to file his lawsuit for a violation of the Administrative Procedures Act of 1946 and the other things that. Yeah, you don't want to wait 15 years, though, Neville. That's a long time. Okay, guys. Thank you, guys. And I will see you guys next week sometime. You guys have a nice rest of your weekend.